Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Muhammad Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets, available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, David Grasso. David is the host of Follow the Prophet podcast. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, David Grasso.
Hey, how
David,
you doing?
welcome.
Oh, it's great to be here. Let's get right into it.
Absolutely. Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to start your business, podcast, Follow the Prophet, and more particularly about helping other businesses to grow?
So Follow the Profit is only our latest, venture. I run a nonprofit media portfolio, which is a very interesting business model. One of the problems, and you're probably familiar with this, is that media doesn't make a lot of money, but it's very powerful. So we tried to design a model to make content at an affordable price that was relevant, and also trying to figure out how to reach our audiences directly, specifically through social media, which we could talk about in depth. And it's something that is ever changing, dynamic. Anyone who's ever dealt with social media and media itself understands that it's a quick moving beast, not a slow moving beast. And Follow the Profit is our latest product. It was built with one of my mentors in mind, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, but it is a non-political show. So that's the interesting part, is that we built I use my mentor's network, who is a very political person, to build a very non-political product about money.
That's a great combination. So you just mentioned the person name. I'm not going to mention it. I get the idea. So he is a very, very, very strong political person. You know, and how you got him to? Now we're talking about your mentor. How you talk him to get into a non-political content generation machine?
Yeah, well, it's even more of a layer because, he's really the figurehead of the organization, but I really owe it to his right-hand lady. And it's funny, people think that, you know, the former Speaker of the House, he heavily he has a lady that is someone who really knows TV. Her name is Debbie. She brought me into it. She's been someone who's been kind of guiding me through the world of podcasting, and helped me get the deal with iHeartRadio, who I'm very grateful for. And now we're trying to develop our editorial voice, our booking, our guests. But I've been doing media for 7 years. I started when I was 29, which is very unusual. Most journalists start when they're very young, and that has really changed the way I've done things. So that I started at such a late age.
Wonderful. Well, how are you? Still look, very young, by the way. So don't just focus on age part yet. So yeah. So David, based on your experience of running this, Bold TV you mentioned, and
Yeah.
you're helping to get the attention from the like a non-traditional media with the speed of light, but ever changing. Okay,
Yeah, so,
something happened on your side.
no, I'm just plugging this in because evidently it was low on battery, but we're doing
Oh, okay.
that.
I
Sorry
will. I
about
will
that.
wait for you.
So you guys are all seeing what we all deal with in media, is that because of the pandemic, there is nobody here. And I just noticed a technical problem was coming. So you can imagine that we have to talk to you, we have to listen, we have to communicate with staff, we have to make sure our guest information isn't wrong on the bottom. And then
Yeah.
suddenly the thing tells you it has low battery. Last time I checked, I charged it last night, but I guess it decided not to charge. But,
Okay. So are we good now?
Oh, we're perfect, of course.
Okay. So, what are the top three missteps to avoid when you're getting on your business on as a on a media? So, when you're dealing with the media, what are the top three missteps to avoid?
Number one is building your business model on social media. So social media changes too often to build a business model. And that is something that my predecessor made as a mistake. That's something that the whole media world made as a mistake. And it's taken us a long time to diversify our pipeline. In full honesty, we still haven't. And it's a long-term project of mine that is very expensive and very time consuming. And social media has become much more pay for play now, which, if you don't know what that means, is basically insert money, get views. Social media is very powerful, but we have to be very careful about our dependence. I think The other mistake I've made, I'm just going to keep on going with social media because it's been some of our biggest mistakes. A lot of times people want quick growth solutions to social media,
Yeah.
and it helps you in the short term, like a bodybuilder injecting steroids. But the social media platforms notice when you do that, and they end up suppressing you. So if you're tempted to buy clicks or likes from a farm out, in certain parts of the world, it's going to help you in the short term and it's going to hurt you in the long term. So number one would be growing your business around social media. Bad idea. Social media is a tool. It should not be the central, thrust of your business model. Two, there are no shortcuts in social media. It's hard, and it's specifically now pay for play. And three, I would say, is really covering politics without getting too political is really hard. And I feel like we've done that wrong at certain times, and everything is political now. So, and I feel like there's been moments that we've made mistakes on that front. And I'm always concerned that someone's going to come back and say, well, you said this at this time about this, because everything is forever now. So those would
Yeah.
be so if we had to, I know it's the rule of three, but if we had to do really two buckets, it's really social media and politics.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. David, I'm sure it looks like you have learned so much from social media. So, what's your single most failure story from social media? What did you learn from it, and how did you recover from it?
I think our biggest failure story from social media was when we started Bold TV. At the time, I was not the CEO. We were not a nonprofit. It was started by a friend of mine. There was a new thing called Facebook Live. And
Yeah.
this back 5 years ago was a novel product. And you would just turn it on and you would get 100,000 views. And it was
Yeah.
like this unbelievable just tool. And we thought we were pioneers and visionaries. And we built our whole business around it. And one day, Facebook changed their mind, which they have the right to do because they're a private company, but they completely decimated our business. And we went from 100,000 views a video to basically statistically zero overnight. And it was very hard to survive that era. And in fact, that era did kill the company. And that's why today I am the CEO and we are a nonprofit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, what's the lesson learned from this?
Don't build your business around social media. It's a tool. It's not really supposed to be your landing pad. What
Yeah.
happened is that social media is wonderful. I'm not going to sit here and bash Facebook. I love it. I love what it does. I love, I love everything about it. I'm a millennial. I love social media. I was one of the first users of Facebook's in the world because I was a
Mhm.
student at Columbia at the time. And
Mhm.
I really enjoy it, but you can't build your whole business model around it because they changed their business model. And in all fairness to the social media giants, they have to focus on their own interests. The problem
Yeah.
back then was they said back then it was so crazy. Medium, if you've heard of that website, was saying you don't need your own website. Come to
Yeah.
our website.
Yeah. That's
Facebook was saying you don't need your own videos. Come to us. YouTube, same thing. And it's like you can use those sites, but don't build your business around it because you never know where they're going. And again, I hate to be a broken record, but in all fairness to them, they are private businesses. They are entitled to their own practices. And really, little old me is not going to be considered when they make major changes, and they are overnight, and even worse, a lot of times they're not disclosed.
yeah, not disclosed. Yeah. Thank you, David. So, in spite of all these big, eye-opening lessons you're sharing with us, so let's switch the side on the success side. So, what are your top three success secrets when you're building a Bold TV, like a brand on the social media and digital world?
I think the number one lesson I've learned is that I can't do it by myself. So I have to inspire others. I think it's a fine line between being a micromanager and a leader. And a
Mhm.
lot of times it takes a little bit of heart and brain, and it's a mix. And you can't be 100% efficiency and you can't be 100% artsy. And it's a tough balance there with media because media is an art, right? You have to
Yeah.
get the voice down, you have to get the look down. And really it's very expensive. Producing content like what you're doing here, people don't understand. It is just some of the most expensive stuff you can imagine. And then it
Yeah.
doesn't really produce a lot of revenue. So, but that there are parts of the economy that capture that revenue, like PR firms, like authors, like, so you have to build models that basically are realistic about the power of media as well as the lack of profit opportunity. But, and to get back to my original thing, that's all really done with a staff that's inspired, engaged, and understands that we're dealing in a low margins industry.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in last few years, probably 5 years, media has changed upside down almost altogether. So, how the people, growth hacking secrets community people are watching this now can support you?
Just watch our stuff. We are focused on promoting entrepreneurs like you. We really like just creating content to educate people about money, to educate people about starting their own businesses, to be financially independent, to be independent thinkers. I think in this era, a lot of people are either one thing or another and tag themselves at a very early age. They also assume that someone's going to come and just give them a great job. And that's not really how it shakes out. There's a lot of opportunities here in America and around the world. And a lot of times, the only way to really get ahead is working for yourself. And that doesn't mean go quit your job and go, start something on your own. It means dip your toes in things and learn and fail. Failure is the most essential part of learning.
Failure is the most essential part of learning. That's a big, tagline. I'm going to use it. So, Bold TV, who is your ideal guest for Bold TV?
We've interviewed everyone from Mark Cuban down to someone who is in the idea stage for their business, that they haven't even put a plan together. It depends on what you're talking about, because we were originally a video centric brand because Facebook, back during Facebook Live, videos were doing really well. And funny enough, I've really pivoted to written content because it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper. And my audience really is interested in financial freedom. They're interested in independent thinking. So, articles are new again. So we're bringing back the old as the new, and it's a lot easier to get guests interviewed for articles than it is for video, because video, we only have so much bandwidth. There's only so much studio time. There's only so many people. There's only so much editing. Everyone wants to be on TV. There's a reason why it's so hard to get on there.
Yeah, wonderful. So Bold TV, check that out, boldtv.com. Thank you so much. David, we are about to wrap up. I like to ask this question to almost every guest to get a quick testimonial for the show. What would you say about your today's guest experience on Growth Hacking Secret Show?
My best experience? Is that what you said?
What would you say about your today's guest experience on Growth Hacking Show?
I think this was fun. I mean, this was it was easy, it was light, and we were just talking about reality. I mean, these are the challenges we face as entrepreneurs every day, no matter what you're doing. And I guess the best part is seeing you nod when I was saying stuff, to understand that there are other people out there that are experiencing the same types of challenges.
Wonderful. Thank you for your kind words. Really appreciate it. David, what would you say as a final word?
Yeah, failure is an essential part of learning. And I think I learned that the hard way. And I wish I would have learned that when I was younger. So don't be afraid to fail. Failure actually reveals who you are, what your trajectory should be, and what you should have done right in the first place. And it's painful because it's personal, but over time, you just let it, you let it go. You get over it.
Yeah, failure is the essential part of learning. Thank you so much, David Grasso, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secret community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.